Contractors, if you guys are struggling to let go of bottom performers within your business because they have been with you for so long and you're just like, dude, there's no way that I could possibly find anybody who has at least as close to a skill set of this person, and for that reason I'm just going to keep them, then I want you guys to watch this video until the very end, because I'm going to break down why these poor hires are going to end up costing you your whole entire business that you've spent years, if not in some cases decades, building up, and what you can do to measure these people's performance and actually define if you should be coaching them up so that, you know, maybe they could flourish within your company, or coaching them out so that they can make a graceful exit without them absolutely hating your guts. Okay, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Lev Parseghian. I'm the founder of Cosmosify, a consulting agency that helps remodel contractors and custom home builders bring order to their business. And I make these videos so that you guys can get a ton of value from them. And if you want my company to, you know, swoop in and actually help install a lot of these SOPs, frameworks, and systems that we have spent a lot of time developing, then hopefully, maybe so, if you're doing more than $2 million a year, you can book a call with us in the description, and maybe we could work together. But that's not what I want to talk about in this video. What I want to talk about is the fact that you guys have dead weight on your teams right now. Okay, this could be a designer that you hired way too prematurely, just because of the fact that you're like, oh, are you kidding? It's such a value proposition for us to have an in-house designer. Or it is a project manager that has not been pulling their weight for over 2 years, 3 years. And or maybe just maybe, it is a situation where you have a lead carpenter, even somebody in your production crew who, you know, is doing good enough, but they don't show up to job sites on time. They kind of start skipping days throughout the week to actually show up altogether. But you don't want to let go of them once again, because you've spent a lot of money and a lot of time training them up so that they can get to where they are. I'm making this video because, like, this is actually it's a scenario that, like, one of my contractors just recently went through, and a couple of my other guys are currently going through. And so I want you guys to know that, like, this is not uncommon whatsoever. In fact, this is a very common thing to experience in a construction business, a residential construction business, if you guys have not put systems in place to measure employee performance. Okay, and you may be asking, well, Lev, what kind of systems are you talking about? Like, should I be standing on the job sites with the guys, like on a day-to-day basis, and just kind of like being like this on-site nanny? Wasn't that the point of me hiring these people, so I don't have to do this stuff? No, not necessarily. It's not you know, a surveillancer that I'm talking about when I say systems. I'm talking about having an expectation, creating an expectation with your team that their employment is conditional, right? I know this one's gonna, like, rack some people's brains, but, like, don't forget that you are paying people under the condition that they're actually going to perform for your company. Okay? So, like, if the expectations for the project manager is to show up on time to the job site and to you know, log all their daily logs in JobTread or BuilderTrend or whatever your internal project management software is, and they're not doing that thing that was, you know, on day one established with them, then that's probably, you know, a mark that you can use to say, hey, we need to correct this behavior, or you're going to be on your way out. And I know that a lot of times, like, contractors can kind of get caught up and they're like, well, they're doing 70% of their day-to-day just fine. And so I don't want to be a stickler on the 30%, which is kind of crazy saying out loud. Like, 30%, like, that's so much operational inefficiency. But, like, yeah, they'll get caught up and they say, okay, I don't want to touch, like, the 30%. Guys, here's the thing. For every process that gets left unaddressed, or unaddressed is a good way to put it, that has, like, major inefficiency, it is costing your company significant amounts of money. Now, I can't measure what it is specifically for your company because I don't know your numbers, but if you just look at how much the hourly breaks down of one of your PMs who is not operating at least like 90% efficiency, as it relates to like their day-to-day tasks, responsibilities, and outcomes that they're tied to, then guys, like you don't want to run a profitable construction business. And if that's the case, then that's fine. But like, just be clear that that's what's happening. I need to. I felt the need to speak about this because it's like, just because of the fact that you've been in a relationship with somebody for a really long time doesn't mean that better is not out there. But you may be afraid of pursuing better because you don't necessarily know how to, one, attract better talent. Two, you don't know how you would even keep the better talent. And number three, you don't know what you would do to prevent this mess that you're currently in from happening again. And so the way that we have to kind of address this is like, talk about day one, for example. So like day one, when, let's just use the PM example, when this PM started in their role, and let's say they've been with you now for 2 years, day one, what was the expectation that was established with them? Ask yourself, like, did you have a clear job description written out with all of their daily responsibilities mapped out in there? Oftentimes, like, I'll talk to like 3 out of 5 contractors and they're like, dude, I don't even know where that job description is. Like, I wrote it up and it just kind of lives somewhere. And the moment that I get riled up and I want to, wreak havoc on the team and make it clear to them that, like, holy moly, I'm pissed, then at that point they will change their behavior. But that's short-lived, because then the moment that you let off the gas, they also let off the gas and they kind of let everything start dissipating again. Their behavior, at least, right? And so the first thing is, like, ask yourself, did you do what you were supposed to do when it came to communicating what the expectation was on a day-to-day basis? Okay? I have contractors tell me sometimes, they're like, well, you know what? They kind of, this project manager does it one way, another PM does it another way. Like, we don't have like a standardization across the board between like all of our field team in terms of like how it is that we want a remodel project documented. And I'm like, okay, so if this person leaves, then what? Like, do you even have training content available for another person to come in and kind of do things the way that you want it done? Or is it going to be you as the owner operator playing playing PM? These are important things to take into consideration, guys. Like, if you don't define what this is for your company, it's or define these expectations for your company and these processes and what the day-to-day, week-to-week is supposed to look like, it's going to be very difficult to actually scale a team and scale your construction business from a profitability standpoint too, because not doing all these things is costing you a lot of money. Okay, so first things first is clearly write out your job description. Okay, and then reinforce that job description during your onboarding. Like, when somebody gets hired, take a day, like an hour within the first day, to review the job description with them, and make sure you are doing this that first week almost on a daily basis. Like, day one, make sure that you're reviewing the job description. Day two, make sure you're reviewing the job description. You want to reinforce these daily responsibilities so much to where there's no gap in what they think they should be doing and what you expect them to be doing. And if there is a gap, then there should also be an accountability loop that takes place. If in the case you do run into a situation with an employee and they're just like, I'm just doing everything to the best of my ability. It's like, well, this is what you agreed to when we first started working together, number one. Number two, you also agreed in the first week that we were going to meet on a one-on-one basis every single week to make sure that you're actually doing these things to the best of your ability and to the quality standard of the company. Now, if that's not taking place, there's an issue. And so then we either have to PIP you, which is what we call, in the corporate world, we call that performance improvement plans, right? We need to put you on a plan to make sure that you start doing these things. And PIPs are not intended, guys, to just get rid of employees that are dead weight for the business. They are intended to support that employee through a time where maybe there's some ambiguity in terms of what is expected of them, and just how they're showing up on a daily basis. I understand that things happen sometimes where people go through family situations or whatever the case is, and their performance just overall slips. But we need to support them as leaders so that they can reach their potential within your company. If you are just like hiring people and then getting upset at them a week later because they're not doing their job, you got to ask yourself what you contributed to that. Did you train them properly? And if you don't know how to train someone properly, did you seek the support to train the person properly? Right? Do you know of what processes need to go in place in order to train an employee like that, or train any employee for that matter within your business? You got to ask yourself these questions. And so that being said, guys, the thing is that if you guys are not addressing these things within your construction business head on, and you are not, even today, like if you're running into this position or this situation today and you are not rewriting or reestablishing expectations as it relates to the day-to-day responsibilities and getting their sign off on it and meeting with them and communicating those expectations, you can only expect the situation to get worse. You should only expect the situation to get worse. People are not just going to magically wake up and become disciplined and get better if this has been, I guess, the case for the last 2 years. And so there becomes a point where you just kind of have to evaluate for yourself, am I going to continue to do things the way that I was doing it and it's not actually paying off, or am I going to make a change? And when you make that change, guys, it is going to cause a rumble within your business and force you to either let go of that person or actually keep that person. Okay, and I can talk a little bit more about what is it y'all can do to attract A players within your business, but the first thing that y'all should focus on is establish the right processes and systems for the people that are currently in your organization so that they can win.